This morning I'll be discussing pairing 2026 CPS Kenya webinar and the whole book. I have three different sessions and I'll take you through it. Now the three different session is tracking consumer pulse within Kenya. After that, we're going to the 2026 consumer trend as a theme that we've noticed across Africa and the implication for brands. Then we share our parting words on what brands should do. Now let's speak a bit about the consumer pulse study, which we call the CPS in Nigeria, Kenya, and Ghana. This we've gone over the last 5, 6 years. 6 years in Nigeria, some 3, 4 years in Kenya and in Ghana. And what do we do with the consumer pulse survey? Generally, is to track consumer sentiments. Um, People happy, people not happy, and the key metrics we get to track include the happiness index. If people are happy, what is the level of happiness? We talk about the financial index, talk about financial well-being of people. We speak about the optimism index around people as well. And we also look at the category consumption pattern. That's what we get to do in CPS. However, for the sake of this webinar, we'll be focusing on just the happiness index and a bit around the financial well-being in Kenya. Now for CPS, who do we speak? Who do we speak with? We speak with male, female in term of gender. For the age group, we speak to people between 18 to 36 plus years. And location, for this particular Q1 2026 that we're going to be presenting, it was done in Nairobi. But for some previous edition, we've gone to Nairobi as well as Mombasa, having a true Kenya outlook. Now, what have we learned when it comes to CPS? Because we've done this over the last few years. I mean, we have some interesting learnings we've picked up from CPS. First off, we notice, and data has shown this, that there's a strong correlation between the happiness index that we get from CPS and the economic headwinds in both Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. Another thing we've noticed is stuff around happiness index responds to government and economic policy. That's an impact on daily life. It's either the policy is favorable or it's not favorable. We have seen an impact of this on people's disposition generally. And one thing we've known is around post-COVID. Now, when COVID started, COVID was not a respecter of socioeconomic class, of income, of level. I mean, it was just a leveler. Everybody was in that same deep mess where you couldn't move around, and I mean, things were happening very fast, and the world could not cope. But what we've noticed post-COVID is that there's been an appreciation of good health. And you won't blame people because with COVID, it looks like health was taken away from us and we're all kind of struggling. But after now, people now feel like now health is a big thing for them. And the social support system around consumers, Africa we know have been a communal way of living. And this social support system really help family, church, colleague, friends actually came into help. And this has been a major calibrator of the happiness index. Now, this is what we have learned so far when it comes to CPS in Nigeria, Ghana, and in Kenya. And honestly, this gives us our fame and our credibility when it comes to talking about teen sentiments in this part of the world. Now we talk about headwinds, we talk about economic policy, and we talk about how this affects consumers. Now, if you look closely at the deck in front of you, you can see three lines. And pardon me, I'm really very poor with color. But I know the first line is the blue line, if I'm not making a mistake. And the blue line talks about the happiness index we've gotten in Kenya through 4 data points. The green one talks about the PMI, which is the Purchasing Manager Index. This just shows the flurry of activities that's happening within the country economy at a particular period in time. The interesting thing about the PMI is the fact that it focused forward. I mean, you use data from previous years to focus on what is going to happen. And the also interesting thing about PMI that we all need to know is this. There's a rule with PMI. If it's 50 plus, that means it is positive growth for that economy, it's positive expansion for that economy. That economy is going and that economy is expanding. That's a 50 plus for PMI. But if the PMI is less than 50, that's a challenge, that's a problem. That means that economic is static as it is. And that's not the viewpoint people want. And of course, there is the inflation figure in there with the third line, which is in red. Now, if we look at this and we're asking ourselves, really, guys, what is the link? What is the correlation between this? Now, we've seen the PMI stable over time. Oh, that shows, oh, Kenya is growing. Kenya economy is expanding. So there's no challenge in here. But let's take our eyes down. I don't know if you can see my cursor to September 2023, which is our baseline reading, which was the first time we actually went into Kenya and get this figure. Look at the inflation, 7%. And across the four data points, that is the highest, if you look at it. And if we look at the first happiness index, 51%, to the lowest we have had over time. So if you just look at these two numbers, we're saying, oh, inflation is high, and this has had an effect on the happiness index. It's low. Now, when we go to January 2026, the current state right now, and we look at the inflation figure, the lowest among at that time, which is at now, which is 4%. And when we look at the happiness index, it's a whopping 82% of Kenyans are happy. So there's kind of a strong correlation between it. When we look at the third data point, where we have 5% inflation. But if we look at the PMI was growing, and this also accounts for the high happiness index we've seen. But remember, we've said that the HI is influenced by macro indicators, by external factors, and we will dig a bit more on this from this slide, if you can see this slide clearly. The base year for us was September 2023. Happiness index was at 51%. And at this point, there was kind of a bit of political upheaval in Kenya. There was anti-government demonstration, there was violence incidents happening in Kenya, there was some communal conflict happening in Kenya. And of course, this kind of affected people's happiness level, 51%. Now, take forward to a year later, November 2024, and we've seen a slight increase of happiness index from 51 to 53%. We're very slight and marginal, but we could see a growth. And we ask ourselves, what could have accounted for this growth? And at this point, we've seen Kenya host the Cricket World Cup Challenge League A, which is big in Kenya. And for Kenya hosting that regional stuff that involves 6, 7 other countries, this kind of show a renewed sense of pride and joy. Oh, we can do this. And of course, if you host any regional event, there will always be an economic and social spark. And that kind of led to the increase in the happiness index we're seeing. Forward to a year later, October 2025, and we've seen happiness index move from 53% to 81%. That's like a plus 30% increase. And what could have led to this? First off, we've noticed in Kenya a lot of political stability happening in Kenya. People are more happy, people are more relaxed. And we also have access to cash. I mean, when I was talking to somebody, so the word the person used is more money in circulation, but there was access to cash. Inflation figure was cooling down. There was a lot of currency stability coming from November 24, when there was a bit of currency fluctuation. But at this point, we saw a lot of currency stability. The government had money, and there was a lot of infrastructure stuff going on in government. And if you dig further again, there was a boost in agriculture in Kenya. When there's a boost in agriculture, that means there will be more food, and there will be, I mean, if there are more food, then it's probably be cheaper or affordable, if that's the right word to use. And also, there was also a boost in tourism in Kenya. And tourism growth in Kenya is almost unmatched anywhere in Africa. With all of this, we noticed that increase from 53% to 81%. And between this period was also when Kenya celebrates their Heroes Day, known as Mashuda Day. All this combined to make Kenya figure, I mean, very happy, people happy from 53 to 81% within the span of 1 year. Now, just a quarter later, January 26th, we're still seeing happiness index high. I mean, it's stabilized between 81 to 82. I mean, really no big difference. And this just around inflation still being good, Kenyans being happy. And with that, I mean, this shows a strong correlation between happiness index and current economic reality that is happening in Kenya. Now we go one step further and we say Kenyans are happy. Why are they happy? What is driving this happiness we've been speaking about in the last 2, 3 minutes? And when you ask Kenya why are they happy, it's more of personal growth and accomplishment, and probably good of mental and it's a state of good mental position at this point. When you look at the figure, the highest reason why people are happy in Kenya is people are seeing growth in their personal life. And if there's a growth in personal life, of course, it will translate into family. People are also saying that, oh, we are actually accomplishing and achieving whatever we set out to do. And there is stuff around good mental health. You're accomplishing whatever you are going to accomplish, then there'll be that good mental space or else you're going to be in. And I mean, people also talk about the health issue coming in. They're enjoying good health at the moment, and there's the family support system coming in. And these are reasons why Kenyans are really very happy. Now, we also know that some of them are not happy, and we need to actually listen to them. Just 11% said they are not happy. Not really very big, but we need to understand why they are not happy. And top on the list really is the high cost of medical services, medical bills in Kenya. Discussed with somebody and they said, yes, it's high, but the government currently is working on this, and there's some national health insurance scheme that is going on in Kenya, not widespread at the moment, but this is going to kind of water down people's unhappiness. There's the issue around no job opportunity or low job opportunity in Kenya. This is causing a bit of unhappiness. I mean, we just stick to these two: high cost of medical services and low job opportunity is fueling the reason why some Kenyans are not happy. Now we look at this and we start looking at a bit of indices as well around Kenya. And we know that there's been this optimistic and confident outlook on personal and business matters in Kenya. Now, if you look at this slide, you could see the green font numbers and the white font numbers. Now, what you need to also look at is this. The white number is coming in from the happiness index of Q4 2023. And at that point, the happiness index was at 53%. And the green is coming now when the happiness index is at 82%. You could see there's been a growth of happiness index between these two data points. And this actually reflects in how people perceive their personal growth, how they perceive their family financial situation, how they perceive the business condition in Kenya, how they perceive if Kenya will continually have good future. And if you look at this, I mean, the minimum growth we've seen is plus 30% growth. People are positive about their financial situation. That's a plus 39%. People are optimistic about their family financial situation. That's close to a 30%. People are confident about the business conditions in Kenya. Remember we said access to money, more money in circulation. That is plus 50%. I mean, all these figures kind of show Kenya being on the path of expansion and recovery, and it's really good for Kenyans, and it's actually affected the sentiment of consumer. Now we go to the reason why people are positive about their financial situation in the next 12 months. So why are people saying, all right, I'm seeing a growth in financial situation plus a 39% growth. And one of the key things we've seen is people are achieving their personal goals. whatever goal they have set, financial wise, they are achieving it. And that's why they have that positive outlook on their financial situation improving in the next 12 months. People also are seeing new job opportunities, and this will come to in the next slide. This is digitally driven, you know. So people are seeing new job opportunities, business goes in here. So we're seeing a lot of positive around Kenya. And this, in a way, has affected consumer index, where we have seen that 80% of Kenyans are happy, and only 11% are saying, we are not happy with what is happening in Kenya. And these are the figures for CPS, and there's a bigger deck somewhere if you need it, we'll talk about it at the end of my conversation. Now we'll go into the consumer trends we've noticed. And this cut across Africa. Now, the first one we're going to look at is around optimistic. One thing about Africans is there's usually that silver lining in any dark cloud. That's the African belief. But with Kenya, it goes beyond this. I mean, optimism for Kenya is not just a word that you banter around. It's not just a vibe. For Kenya, being optimistic is around survival strategy. It's a mix of resilience. It's a mix of their hustling spirit. Kenyans always have this audacity that they believe that things will be better. There's always this belief that there's always a way out. We will always succeed. You ask a Kenya, and Kenya will say, God above all, or is the grant for us. So with Kenya, there's this high level of optimistic belief. They are not really bothered. There could be challenge here and there, but they always believe that they will be able to navigate any tough ground. And that's the Kenyan spirit, that's the Kenyan vibe. And what's the implication here? Though there is this optimistic spirit, we are still expecting economic stability. We're still expecting economic expansion. That's really good. Also, we're still thinking about pragmatic spending. I mean, we will spend, we will accept prices you're giving to us, but let there be value in it. And one big thing that's happening in Kenya is the fact that they are digital savvy. I mean, for the side also, it's more of the digital space. Kenya has this ecosystem in Nairobi. Um, where it's like the Silicon Valley. People come in, people get to do everything. And on average, Kenya will always believe that, I can get a job I can get a job in New York based on what is happening, based on digital expertise and digital experience that they have. I mean, so we've seen that in Kenya, optimism is quite big, and this kind of cut across Africa as well. Our next trend is this. Consumer preference have changed and are still changing. I mean, this probably won't be new to anybody. The people are not static. The world is not static. We've seen people preference changing. We've seen people downtrade. We've seen lateral movement as well. And we've also seen people are focusing on essentials now, and this is based on your discretionary income, but people still splurge. Whatever happens, people still splurge. And when we look at all these trends, we're asking ourselves, what is the implication of this for brand? With brands, there are raw materials involved in what we produce. Sometimes this kind of go up, and we want to pass the burden of cost to the consumers. But the price increase is not a silver bullet, honestly. There's a level to which you can increase price and pass the burden to the consumers. So we need to find a way as brand and marketers on how we're going to deal with increasing costs, increasing cost of production. And we'll come to that. We need to think of that as a brand. Another thing as a brand that we need to think of is that we should be available physically. We should be available at the point where people get to purchase. If you are not available, then people won't buy you. But now when we look at availability, we tell ourselves, apart from the breadth, spread our availability, we also need to look at the breadth. at the depth of it is really very key. Sometimes it's not around quantity of appearance, it's around the quality of your presence in there. You could be available in the wrong format and people won't pick you up, though you are available. So you need to have meaningful impact when we speak about physical availability. It's not the quantity of appearance, it's the quality of your presence in there. I mean, for the low income guys, you have to be available in the shape and form they can afford you, or else they'll just look at you, smile, and just move on. Another thing we've noticed is brand is important and will always be important. However, we need to invest in saliency. Brand are as much important as when people can remember them, when people are aware of them. If you don't build in brand saliency, there won't be a commensurate growth of that brand within the mind space of people. So as marketer, as brand owner, we need to invest in saliency. And also, we need to explore growth via occasions. And in the next slide, I might come to that. But occasions are where people play. Occasions are where people consume our products. And if I'm not in that occasion, of course, I won't be considered and I will not be used. So we also need to explore growth through occasions. And we come to that in the course of the slide. And we look at it. And it's not gainsaying, honestly. Quality remains key to consumers. I mean, we can't oversay this, we can't undersay this. Quality is key to consumer. Consumer will not buy what they believe is a shoddy product. Consumer will not buy what they believe is a bad product, no matter how cheap you are. I'm not going to, as a consumer, throw my money away. No. So quality to consumers will be, can I meet the category baseline attribute? Can I deliver on what is expected from me? And when you look at it, you ask yourself, look at carbonated soft drink. And ask yourself, what is the category baseline for this? There could be a lot of attributes, and of course, there will be a lot of attributes. But the first thing you look at when you get a bottle of soft drink is the refreshing nature you're going to get from that stuff. And if you can't deliver on that category baseline attribute, there is a challenge. People won't buy you because you're not delivering. You could be sweet as much as sugar, but if you're not refreshing, you are not delivering on the category baseline. Same thing with the lager beer. It has to be refreshing. It has to be sessionable. If you don't fulfill this category baseline attributes, there's a challenge. Laundry soap, toilet bar soap, or people needs to be clean. Are you delivering on that? For some people need scent. Are you delivering on that? If you are not delivering on those category baseline, there's an issue. People won't consider it. People will go for a brand that can give them that. And what we've come to know is this. Whatever form, whatever shape, whatever size a brand or a product is in, quality should be the same. The fact that that product is in a sachet does not mean the quality should reduce. Whatever format, whatever SKU, strongly believe that product quality must be the same. And we also need to have this understanding that sometimes we might need to build on the category baseline. We could add different variant, we could add different scent, we could add different fragrance into it. And this all gives a more enjoyable experience to consumers, which they will welcome. But quality will not be tampered with. I mean, having done this over time, we've noticed when there's a combination of quality, of price, of format, consumer will go first with quality. And you ask yourself, what happens to the issue of cost or the issue of price? Honestly, if they cannot afford the bigger SKU, they will go for the smaller SKU because they want to have a good experience in whatever they are using. So as much as we have as brand marketeers, as marketeers and as brand owner, we should tend to deliver on the category baseline attributes. And we look at this, when we do all of this, we want people to pick us off on the shelf. We want people to buy us and use us. Now, purchase, as we know, is being driven by value perception. Am I getting the value from what I'm buying? Now, you now ask yourself, as a brand owner or marketer, What is value perception? All right. Value perception here is this. It's at the right price. Get the word we use, right price. Right price can be higher, can be low, can be mid, but at the right price for consumers. And also there's clear benefit in whatever they are buying. So for you to actually entice people to buy you, for you to increase your volume and probably your value in the market, there have to be that value perception you are passing with your product. And what is the implication for brand owners? It's very easy. The job to be done must be done. You must always deliver on consumers' expectation. Remember, consumers are like the lords and king of everybody. If you decide to shun your product, if you decide to leave your product, then we're going to be in a deep mess. So whatever happens, always make sure that that benefit meets customer expectation. And consumer want to honestly reduce their shopping trip. I mean, you go to the shop, you get that big main shopping store, and you can have one or two top up within the month. At the point when they are in there, if your product doesn't deliver on value perception, your product would not be picked up on the shelf. And as I said earlier on, is quality over quantity. We've gone past that age where people will rush a product because it is cheap. No, people want to have an experience, positive experience with a product because they are spending their hard-earned money. Um, Now we have touch points. We have various touch points. And what we've noticed over time is that the social media has gone and is going and will continue to grow. Um, Social media, interestingly, so when you hear social media, you want to tell yourself, is it for the younger guys? And I said, no, it's not for the younger guys. It's for everybody in there. You look at WhatsApp, our parents and our grandparents are actually very busy on WhatsApp, sending us those interesting videos that sometimes we don't watch, sometimes we get to watch. That shows how they are invested in social media. The young guys are doing Snapchats, they're doing Instagram, they're doing TikTok, you know. The mid-age guy probably are doing X and the likes. But one thing we've come to realize is the social media space is the space where people go to get information, go to get entertainment. And because this is becoming a big part of the way we all live, as clients, as brand, as marketer, we need to be in that conversation. We need to show our presence in those stuff. And if we're not there, people will not remember us. A lot of people are spending time on social media. People are waking up and there's this fear that, oh, what did I miss between the 8 hours or 6 hours or 4 hours that I slept? They're picking their phone immediately to actually check what is going on. I love TikTok. It's very captive. Short videos, pass the message. You know, you have to be there. If you're not passing the message to me as a consumer, then I mean, you've lost me. Honestly, lost me. And what you've also noticed is, I mean, I won't say it's low budget, but you can quickly do a lot of stuff on social media. You don't need to spend months to actually bring this ad out. I mean, we've seen some lovely content creator at in an hour they can actually come up and give us content. So as brand owners, as marketers, we need to actually play in social media space. And the last stuff we've seen here is social media has become the law court for consumers. Now, I don't have that money to go legal with you. I don't have the money to get a lawyer, but sitting down in the comfort of my home, I can actually tweet and say how much I enjoy this product or how much shitty this product is. So as brand owner, we need to play in that space. If there is some negative report on our brand, we should quickly find a way to dial that attention and not let that spread. It's quite important. Social media will grow, will keep on growing, and as brand owner, we need to play in this space. Humor is big. One thing we have known in Africa is we are very humorous. Despite the tough situation, despite the tough time, we still play a lot with Omo. Omo kind of relaxes us. But at the end of the day, two things we need to remember when you are using this play to cut across the clutter is that how relatable is the humor? I hope it's not going above people's head. And is the core messaging still being passed across? You can do very funny skits and there's no message. People laugh, people forget about you, you know. So what you need to do as marketeer is make sure that your humor is relatable, the message is being passed, you are building saliency and preference with your humor. But above all, please make sure that your core message is still being passed. Now, this is not really very strange to us. Um, Consumers are spoiled for choice, really spoiled for choice. We are that era in our life. I mean, when I remember this, I just kind of pity our parents and our grandparents where they have just two, three brands in front of them that they're going to choose from every time, and that's it. But for us, we have that large choice before us, and that kind of have influenced the way we use brand as well, really influence the way we use brand. I remember I spoke earlier around explore growth via occasion. This is where it comes in because I have a lot of brands in front of me. Honestly, I can choose any. I could use any bath, any toilet soap if I have to. But when I have a guest coming, the occasion is different. I probably want to treat the guest better or treat the guest well. And I get to use a different brand of also brands in my house. Now we look at all this and we're asking ourselves as brand owners, as marketeers, what is the implication for us? How do we react to this? Now, we need to understand this different occasion, and we also need to understand people within the occasion. Occasion is not a standalone. There are people within that occasion. And whatever we do, we need to understand those people within the occasion and find a way to build innovation around those stuff. At a point in time, COVID was block party, house party, you're going to beach parties. I mean, just remember that occasions are also evolving. And whatever you do, please make sure you tap into that occasion. And occasion could also be the price tiers. You know, you have the mass product, you have the premium product, you have the value for money product. Just be on that different occasion so that people can pick you at every point in time. Our closing thought is just what we've discussed in the last 20 minutes, I want to believe. Consumers will keep on spending. There's no doubt about that. They might change the way they spend, they might change the form they spend, but the truth of it is consumers will keep on spending. And spending will be driven by value perception. We mentioned it earlier on clear benefit, the right price. Spending will be driven by quality, delivering on category baseline. Spending will be driven on pragmatism, not splurging unnecessarily and spending on essential product. And what does all this mean for our clients? Now, clearly, we need to future-proof our portfolio. I need to innovate along occasion and price tiers. If you don't innovate, you're gonna die. We can start talking about different brands that refuse to innovate and they're no longer with us anymore. So for us to future-proof our portfolio, innovate around occasion and price tiers. That's very important. We also need to build on saliency. If people don't see you, if people don't know you, people will not use you. That is very clear. And I was talking about quality of presence. In touch point, we need to be in the right format, the right SKU, and the right price. Otherwise, people will not even think of us. And when we speak around mental availability and the likes, and people kind of think of us, we should also be present in where they buy. That the last mile distribution, am I at the retailer place? Am I in the open market? People will get me. We need to be there at that point for them, or else they might know us, they might remember us, but they are not using us. And we can't overemphasize on quality. Quality is key. Consumers are becoming more educated, more literate. Consumers now know that they have the power in their hand. And if you don't give to them what they want, you're gone.